Guess it's you.
I guess it's
Let's go.
Starting with the new hitting coach, what was it about Matt Hank that you felt like resonates?
Yeah, I think there were a couple things. Number one, his passion for hitting. And when we started talking to players about him, the feedback that we got from players was so good. You know, how he listens, how he is in the cage, the in-game conversations, like everybody we talked to, it was just effusive in terms of like, this is a guy that you want around you.
Just following up, how much is IKF's him working?
Yeah, IKF was one of the people we talked to. I mean, we talked to not only guys here, but we talked to guys of other places he had been in Toronto. But IKF spoke very highly of him. You know, it wasn't directly correlated because IKF came from Toronto, but he did have a lot of positive things to say about how he was. When you get firsthand from one of your players about a guy's demeanor in the cage, that's really hard to quantify in an interview process. So I think the player portion of it was really important to us.
Flip side on the coaching staff, bringing in Strong, what do you like about bringing into the coaching staff experience-wise, and what's your familiarity with them?
Familiarity, I mean, just respect from being in the game. I mean, he's one of the most respected pitching minds in the game. I think this was, you know, a two-way street. He wanted to be part of our group, and then once we heard there was a possibility, we started to talk to him. We just realized how good a fit it was. I mean, how often do you get a guy that's done what he's done in the game, willing to come and take the title of assistant pitching coach? The fact that he and Oscar hit it off immediately was something that was really important for me. I think he's going to have an impact not only on our player group, he's going to have an impact on me, on Oscar, on Donnie. I mean, everybody that's been around him, all he talks about is wanting to make young pitchers better, and that's what we're all about.
You mentioned wanting to make young pitchers better. David, not exactly a young guy, but he referenced the meeting with him and Oscar going out to visit David. Do you hear any feedback yet on that?
I haven't heard the feedback. It was just this week that Oscar and Strami were in Pittsburgh. They were going to get with David. That's really encouraging that, you know, we're early in the offseason still. It's the first week of December, and the fact that those guys are there, because it's not like David's in a full throwing program. It's just the ability to kind of learn and be around was impactful. And it also, you know, it's time for Oscar and Strami to spend together. They both live in Arizona, so they can do that. But, you know, you get into Pittsburgh, you have the ability to, you know, be around. I think that was important.
What kind of conversations have you had with Brian Reynolds, you know, just the offseason that he's having, and obviously, you know, end of the season he's taking reps at first base, things like that. Has he kind of been working on that throughout the offseason?
Yeah, he's just started that. I mean, Donnie's putting a program in place for him to follow. Then Donnie will follow back up with him. We'll go to Nashville and be able to do the work. Right now, it's just more rest. I mean, he played in 150-something games, and we need him to rest. He'll start his offseason program, but the idea is that we're going to see what it's like at first base, to see that he's going to play there full time. I wouldn't say that. He's a good athlete. He likes taking ground balls. The initial stuff that he did, the initial work that he did at the beginning or at the end of the offseason, into the season was very positive. We'll kind of see how it goes, and then I'll see how the rest of our club plays out.
Are any other players maybe going to be part of that first base program? I mean, you got three catchers.
Yeah, as of right now, no. I mean, but I think we'll be a little fluid with that. We have to figure out, you know, who we acquire, whether it's via trade or who we sign, to be able to do that. Once we put the club together, that's not to say that we, you know, wouldn't move somebody else over there, but right now we don't have any plans to.
Any kind of update assessing the status of Heat and kind of?
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's doing all baseball activities. He's moving around. He's swinging. He's in a good spot. The strengthening program that he went on for the back has continued. All the conversations that our medical and performance group have had with him have been extremely positive. So really excited about that. I mean, he's a big piece to what we're doing. I think we know when he's healthy. We saw it in 23, the months at the end when he was healthy, how he performed offensively, defensively. I mean, you guys know I feel he's one of the best defenders in the game. So just need him to be healthy, and the fact that he's there is very encouraging for us.
Now that a couple months have passed since the end of the season, can you even put more into perspective what Paul Skenes did this past year?
Yeah, I think as you sit back kind of unemotionally and reflect on it, I mean, historic. I mean, a sub-2 ERA. I think our pitching group and our organization in general did a really good job. I know there was a lot of criticism about how we handled the innings. We needed to be thoughtful. We know what we have is a very special pitcher. So we were very diligent. We were very thoughtful with the process. It was very important for us for him to finish the season. I mean, he had the last start in New York, and it was shortened we need him to build off that. We want him to build off that, and that was a major part of the plan. But to look back on what he did, it was fun to watch. The thing that's been even more important is like his thirst to continue to get better, the conversations, how he worked. I don't think you see very many 22-year-olds that are as regimented in terms of his process, and he wants to get better. I mean, I think we saw it in the one start where he just decided, like, all right, I'm gonna throw the changeup, and like, all right, that's a weapon. Where did that come from? You know, he basically, and I don't like using this word, but the splinker he learned in spring training, and it became one of the best pitches in the game. That's what excites me, like his thirst to learn.
Derek, a follow-up on that. Have you ever seen a rookie be so poised? I mean, when he won the Rookie of the Year, it's almost like he had no emotion on his face, just another day at work for him.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a rookie that poised, and I don't know, like, if that goes to, you know, it has to go to how he was brought up. It has to go from the time he spent at Air Force in terms of, but it's who he is. He's authentic. There is nothing that he doesn't do that isn't authentic. To see the lack of emotion, I think right now, if you called Paul Skenes, he's ready for this season to start. In fact, I talked to him about a week ago, and he's like, I'm itching to go. I'm like, hey, hold on. We're in the off season. Enjoy the time. But I think he has his mindset on, like, we're going to win, how we're going to win. That's what he's thinking about. I know he was excited about winning the award, but he's more of a team first, how we're going to get better type of person.
And that was his benchmark, you know, Rookie of the Year and then Cy Young finalist. What do you see as the ceiling for him?
I don't know if we know what the ceiling is. He's 22 years old, and he's going to continue to get better. I'm really excited that he's a Pirate, and I'm really excited to see what that ceiling is.
What are you hoping to see from Jared Jones the next step of his career? Obviously started off so strong and then had some injuries. What's next for Jared?
Yeah, well, I mean, he had the injury, so the first month and a half of the season, he was, you know, probably one of the best pitchers in the National League. It's just the consistency. Like Paul, he's 22 years old. Him being able to finish the season, the grind of it, being able to execute his pitches, stay under control, I think that's the next step. But that's going to come with reps. That's going to come with time. Again, a guy we're really excited about. I mean, our pitching group is young. It's exciting, not just the guys in the big leagues, but the guys we have in the minor leagues that are coming. So the next step is just going to be consistency.
And then Ortiz is someone who did finish really strong. You saw him kind of move back to rotation. What do you like to see from his development?
That's a definite. With development, I think is the most important word there. I mean, we taught him a cutter mid-season. Really big, you know, bonus when your pitching group identifies something that you need as a weapon. All of a sudden, it works. You know, we go from in the bullpen to low leverage to we opening for him to, at the end of the year, one of our better starters because of the development of a pitch. So it takes two things. It takes a group to identify, like, what we need to do, and then most importantly, a player that's willing to, like, I'm going to throw this, and I'm going to do it in games. It starts in catch play, and then all of a sudden he's running it out mid-game, and it became one of the better pitches that he had.
What if you mix in, you know, you reference the minor league pitching that you have? Have you had any discussions like how you want to build this rotation for next year? Like, is it going to be 5, 6, maybe build in days like games, or is that something that you need to see?
Yeah, I think we need to see first. I mean, last year, obviously, we were very thoughtful in terms of spacing out. Now, a lot of that was because of Skenes and Jones. Their first years in the big leagues. Oviedo, we're going to have to be thoughtful because he's coming off Tommy John. So there is going to be some sort of innings that we have to benchmark and watch for. We're in a better place than probably any of the time that I've been here. Not only those guys, you add Falter to it. You start to talk about the guys in the minor leagues with Chandler, Harrington, Barco, Ashcraft. I mean, that's a deep group of pitching, which is really important. How we're going to deploy them right now, I can't tell you that. You know, you guys know how I am. I don't want to talk about that until we get through spring training and then have to make a decision. The good thing is we're going to have some decisions to make.
What do you feel like has to be done to take the line up to the next level?
I think we have to add to the group. You know, we have O'Neill, we have Brian. Adding IKF, Joey Bart had a really good year, but we have to add, you know, major league depth to that group. How we're going to do that, I think, is what we'll find out over the course of between now and spring training. But I think we have the good ingredients to the floor, and then, like to Alex's first point, adding Matt into that group with the hitting group. You know, how we deploy offensively, I think, will come once we know our personnel.
Do you think there's more there with Joey Bart? I mean, obviously his career took off this year.
Yeah, I definitely think there's more there. just with the fact that he's going to get more reps. It's one of those things, everybody wants to put a timeline on what a prospect should be. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, sometimes it takes a change of scenery. I think what we saw was a really productive major league player, and he got volume last year catching. We will take that next step forward in terms of how he drives the ball, how he controls at bats, but the steps forward he made last year were really impactful for us.
Sticking with the catchers, any updates on just how Andy's doing with the elbow?
Yeah, he's doing well. I mean, I think the fact we got him in games last year was really important. We shut him down to the abundance of caution. We didn't want to push it, over the last 2 weeks, but expect in spring training he will be fully healthy to go.
Any conversations with Henry, kind of how he's been?
Yeah, his offseason's been good. This is a guy that has dominated AAA baseball. It's going to translate to the big leagues. We just have to make sure that we do it. Again, going off Joey Bart, everything doesn't work on the timeline we want, but we're really excited about our catching group. We're really, happy with the work and the process it's going. So we should have, a deep group going into camp.
Especially like Henry, so many guys they doing very well at the AAA, but fail to translate to the major league. What was this?
Yeah, I think part of that is guys get to the big leagues a little bit quicker. It used to be you'd get 1,500, 2,000 at bats before you get to the big leagues. And this is not just the Pirates, but throughout baseball, guys are getting in the big leagues and they're showing those struggles. So I think we have to find out what the common denominator is for the individual player to make sure that they translate to the big league level.
Coaching at the major league level, because maybe there you missed the minor league year, right? 2020, a lot of guys missed the year. So these last couple of years, again, not just Pirates, all of baseball. You find there's a little more development at the major league level than maybe there is.
I think so, and to your point, it's not just Pirates based. It's throughout the game. If you talk to every manager or coaching staffs, they're going to tell you that. In the 2020 year is lost time, but even the next year in 21 with lost time, and now we're seeing the effects of those guys were college kids, that are getting to the big league. So it's not just minor league players that may have been high school players. That has definitely happened, and then organizations are rushing guys to the big leagues a little bit quicker, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, and because of it, there's more coaching that's going on. There's always going to be, for us in Pittsburgh, there's always going to be development at the major league level. I think just identifying, what those things are is the most important aspect.
Last question here with David, just how his season progressed. But if you kind of look at this roster, do you have unfinished business as close to right now, or is there something you would like to see from him?
Well, I think the fact that he has the ability to close is really important for us. Let's remember, this guy was a two-time All-Star closer. He had a tough year last year. If I'm going to bet on anybody bouncing back, I'm betting on David Bednar bouncing back. He started, the year, it was abrupted, shorter spring training, kind of was behind the eight ball a little bit. Had some really good stretches where he threw the ball well. It just wasn't consistent. But I'm betting on David Bednar bouncing back and having a really good year for us. To pencil in anybody right now, I'm not doing that just because I want to make sure we get into spring training. But I'm really happy that, he's with us. Well, he can really hit. I think that's the thing. He controls the zone. He has the ability to drive the ball to the right center field. As a young hitter, he controls the middle of the diamond. I mean, he is a bona fide gap-to-gap guy. You like to talk about the ability to stay in the middle field. He has it. I don't know if we've had a young hitter over the last couple of years that controls the at-bats as well as he does. At such a young age, it was a good trade for us. We were able to get an impactful guy. Where he's going to play, I can't tell you. He has versatility to play all over the diamond. We saw him play third. We saw him play second. We saw him play in the outfield. So we'll have to decide with what the makeup of our group is of where he's going to be.
Shelton, do you have the earliest memory of when during your playing career or coaching career that you decided you wanted to manage?
I don't know. I mean, I managed in the minor leagues and then got to the big leagues. Got to the big leagues as a hitting coach and was kind of focused on that. I think it really first came into play when I got fired in Tampa and had the opportunity to do some other things and be a hitting coach. And my wife was actually the one that was like, you've always said you want to manage, you want to think about it. It's when I went to Toronto, and I was really fortunate that Ross and Mark gave me the opportunity to do some different things. And I think it did two things. It opened up my eyes to wanting to manage, and then the second thing, is it probably exposed the baseball world to like, all right, there's a different skill set here besides being a hitting coach.
The game of baseball has grown so much. Could you have even fathomed a few years ago, a contract worth almost $750 million?
Yeah, that's it has definitely changed. I think our game has changed probably more than any other game in terms of the rules, but the product on the field and the amount of money. I mean, I think it shows you that baseball is strong and that there's good players out there, and he's a very good player.
What do you think about the golden bat, speaking of
I'm not going to speculate on any rules that are put into place until they're put into place. I don't know if I fully I was talking to Danny about it, fully understand the full scope of it. What if that guy's on base? What if he's not? I'm not going to get into it until we actually apply it.
if I shot you with cruise serum, what do you think of it?
Thankfully, you don't have any truth serum, I think that, Johnny. I do want to say, I should have started with this, but really excited about Dave Parker. Like, congratulations to him and Dick Allen, but, Dave Parker played a big part in Pirates history. He still is back for the Hall of Fame events for the weekend, and really excited. He's very much deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, so definitely want to congratulate there. Thank you, guys.